Dave Ramsey once said, financial literacy is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Imagine graduating with a degree you worked so hard for, only to realize you don't know how to budget your salary, manage a loan, avoid debt traps, or save for emergencies. Many university students today are academically qualified yet financially lost. Just last semester, a friend told me she had only 20 ringgit left in her bank account with 2 weeks of the month still to go. She wasn't irresponsible. She simply didn't know how to plan her spending, how to track her expenses, or how fast her small purchases can add up. And her story isn't unique. Most of us here have struggled to stretch our allowances, worried about PTPTN, or felt lost when thinking about future financial responsibilities. That's why this topic matters to every student, because money affects all of us, whether we're ready or not. And I know this because I've been there too. Last year, I checked my bank balance and realized I had far less than I thought. I didn't know where my money went. I simply had no plan or system. When I started sharing this with friends, I found out most of them were struggling silently with the same problem. That experience pushed me to learn more, and after reading multiple studies on student financial behavior, I realized this isn't just individual weakness, it's a structural issue. Universities are failing students by ignoring financial literacy, and this lack of education leaves graduates unprepared, stressed, and vulnerable to real-world financial responsibilities. I am Nur Ashadillah binti Zafri, and today I will explain why the absence of financial literacy in university is a serious problem, how it affects students during and after their studies, and why it is urgent for universities to take action. First, students struggle with money because they lack basic financial skills and knowledge. A major survey conducted by Finco in 2023 found that about 75% of Malaysian students only have low to moderate financial knowledge, and nearly half said they didn't fully understand basic responsibilities like income tax, EPF, or even how the student loans work. These are real-life responsibilities we will face immediately after graduating, and many of us are not prepared simply because we were never taught. This problem is not just limited to a few universities. A national study published by UPSI in 2024 involving more than 1,800 students across Malaysia showed that most students score low on financial knowledge tests. The researchers pointed out that even though students may recognize financial products, they often don't know how to use them wisely or safely, showing a big gap between awareness and true understanding. Earlier research also confirms this pattern. A study on Malaysian college students by Sapri and colleagues found that students frequently overspend, fail to track their expenses, and don't practice basic budgeting, which causes many of them to run out of money before the month ends. The researchers warn that these unhealthy financial habits begin in universities and can affect a person's finances long after they graduate. Now that we see the scope of the problem, let's examine how this affects students both during their study and after they graduate. Most universities only provide optional workshops or one-time talks from bank or invited speakers. A report from Montana State University in 2020 highlighted that only 17% of educational institutions worldwide require personal finance as a formal subject. This means that for the vast majority of students, financial literacy is treated as something extra, not something important. Malaysian research supports this too. A study examining students from multiple public universities found that general university education is not enough to develop real financial competence. In Malaysia, most public universities do not have compulsory financial literacy modules for undergraduates. The researchers stress that without structured teachings, students are left to figure it out on their own, which is not effective, especially since most students already lack the foundation to begin with. Because financial literacy is not part of the curriculum, the quality of optional workshops varies a lot. Some are run by marketing agents or bank representatives whose main purpose is to promote financial products, not educate students. A 2025 study from UNIMAS showed that students perform significantly better when they are taught by trained financial educators, such as certified financial planners, not casual speakers. This clearly shows that optional workshops are not enough. Students need proper, formal, reliable financial education just like any other essential skills. Third, let's explore what action universities must take to ensure the students graduate financially prepared. Introducing a compulsory financial literacy module for all first-year students would ensure that everyone receives equal access to essential knowledge. And this isn't just theoretical. According to a 2024 report by financial analytics company Experian, 1 in 7 university students has considered dropping out due to financial stress. That statistics alone show how urgently students need proper financial guidance. The module should cover the most important financial skills for Malaysian students: budgeting, debt management, PTPT and loan, saving strategies, emergency funds, and understanding interest. These are the exact topics Finco identified as the biggest knowledge gaps among students, meaning a structured curriculum would directly address the problems students already face. Finally, to make sure the course is genuinely helpful, it has to be taught by qualified instructors. The 2025 study at UMass found that students who learn from certified financial educators develop significantly better financial planning behaviors. This shows that if universities invest in proper instructors, students will walk away with real practical financial skills, not just theory. In closing, it's easy to see how damaging financial illiteracy can be to a student's future. Financial knowledge may be something universities take for granted, but for a student, it could be the start of a life free from unnecessary debt and stress. Today, we've seen that students are struggling because they lack basic financial skills, that universities are not providing the structured education needed to bridge this gap, and that this failure leads to long-term financial stress and unprepared graduates entering the real world without the tools they need. To every person here, whether students, future graduates, or concerned citizens, please advocate for this change. Talk to your student representatives, raise this issue with your university administration, and demand that financial literacy be recognized as a core required skill for all undergraduates. If we don't advocate for ourselves, then the cycle of unprepared graduates will continue. Your voice matters, and each of us can spark this change. If universities can prepare students with knowledge for their careers, then they have the responsibilities to prepare them for life. We began this speech with Dave Ramsey's reminder that financial literacy is not a luxury. And that is true. This isn't an optional skill, it's a survival skill. Now, having reviewed the fact, I hope all of you agree with the truth when we say financial literacy shouldn't be an option. It should be a mandate. Because when students understand money, they don't just survive their future, they build it. Thank you.